Arriaga, and I have a great lesson to you. It's a continuation of my goal achievement lessons. So first of all, in case you're wondering why the giddy up outfit, I just came from outside walking my dog and it's raining, so that's why I have what I have on. So I'm rereading the book Psycho-Cybernetics, and this applies to goal achievement. So the book Psycho-Cybernetics in chapter number 3 basically says that it says that you don't have a subconscious mind, you have a machine. It says that you are not a machine, but that you have a machine and that you can operate this machine. You want to learn how to operate the machine. So one of the things that I have in this diagram is these little antennas over here, which represent an idea. I have an idea. This is what I want. This is who I want to be. This is what I want to do. This is what I want to have. And so when I have this idea, this thought, I'm adding an electrical charge to it and I'm sending it out to the universe. But we all know that positive thinking alone does not work. There's something else that you have to add to this. And so you have to emotionalize the thought. You have to start to feel the thought, feel and believe that it's possible for you. And when you do that, it takes that energy, that thought that you had sent out to the universe, and now it creates a magnet inside of you. So you start to draw it back in. You start to attract the thing, the synchronicities, the serendipities that are aligned with the thought that you're having. Now, this works both ways. If you have a negative thought, if you think I'm dumb, I'm bad, I'm stupid, it won't work for me, that's an idea. You start to emotionalize that thought, and your subconscious mind is going to create the conditions to prove that thinking is correct. Now, in the book Psycho-Cybernetics, it says you have this machine. Again, you're not a machine, but you have a machine. So when you have this idea of what it is that you want to be, do, and have, you're sending it out to the universe, and you start to emotionalize it, it becomes part of your self-image if you accept it. Now, the key here is, what is your self-image? Because what I'm trying to communicate in this picture is that your self-image is a conglomerate of all the things that I have here. Your individual habits, your groups of habits, your paradigms, habits that I use to perceive the world, that they determine or dictate how I react or respond to the world. My beliefs, you heard me say before that a belief is basically a thought that I have over and over again. It starts to become a belief. If I have that belief over and over again, it becomes a perception. Current chemistry could be your oxytocin, your cortisol, your stress hormones, your happy hormones, your dopamine, etc. They help drive and determine your feelings, your emotions. And then it talks about the cybernetic system. Again, this is the machine. So the way it describes the cybernetic system is, imagine like the movies that you've seen where there's a heat-seeking missile. And so it's constantly adjusting. It's getting feedback in terms of what it sees, what it senses, and then it keeps adjusting. If it's going in the right direction, there's no correction. It just keeps going. If it's going in the wrong direction, it does a little course correction because it's using negative feedback. So negative feedback is not a bad thing. It's actually a good thing. So this is the same thing with you. When you have a goal and you make a mistake, you're not a mistake. Or you experience a failure, you're not a failure. That simply means it's a negative feedback system that's telling you, not this way, that way. Make a little tweak, a little adjustment. The good thing about the cybernetic system is it doesn't remember your mistakes. It remembers the correct actions that you've taken. So what else does that mean? That means that when you remember a mistake, it's not the cybernetic system, it's you. You're trying to override the cybernetic system. And so that's where the self-image comes in. If you have a low self-esteem, if you have a low self-image, that's going to impact your results. In chapter 4 of that book, it talks about a $5,000 salesman. And it says that the salesman basically, regardless of what territory he was in, he always managed to make $5,000. If they moved him to one of the toughest, poorest neighborhood where other people were not as successful, he would manage to make $5,000. Now, $5,000 at that time was probably considered a lot of money. So he's considered probably successful. If they moved him to that tough neighborhood where other people would more likely than him fail. So as a promotion, if they moved him to a much more wealthier neighborhood where they know he's going to kill it, he's going to make a lot, he also managed to make $5,000. If he made it early on in the year, he would either get sick or find challenges or excuses or reasons why not to exceed $5,000. So what's the point? The point is that your self-image is something that you cannot outperform. So if you're thinking for yourself, or ask yourself, what is my $5,000 limit? If you're thinking that you want to make $1 million a year or $100,000 a month, But then you say an idea, it's not possible, you rejected it. It never made its way into your cybernetic system. That cybernetic system is a goal-achieving system or a failure mechanism, depending on how you use it. If you say you can't, then that self-image is stronger than the thought, the idea, and it's just going to override any ideas that you have. It's going to make sure that you achieve or you manifest whatever you're thinking. But if you start to think and replace it with, it's possible for me. If that person did it, I can do it. If this person lost your job and they bought the company and that's what you want to do, then you can do it. So whatever it is that you want, you have to, through spaced repetition, keep telling yourself that it's possible. It's possible. And what does it feel like? And this is why you're using one of the 6 intellectual faculties, which is imagination. And so when you're using your imagination, think of it as I'm creating a picture that becomes the goal that I'm going to feed to my cybernetic system. And I'm going to use this to start replacing and enhancing my self-image. Because the self-image that allows you to be more, do more, have more, is the actual true self-image that we all were born with. But over time, because we watched junk on TV, we read junk, we're hanging around with 5 people who are just not going anywhere, have no goals at themselves, and they want to make sure that if they're miserable, you're miserable. If that's the 5 people you're hanging out with, that's going to have a great impact on your results and your self-image. So at some point, you're going to have to replace some of your friends. So the next slide. The next slide over here, you've heard me talk about it again, so I'm just going to talk about it one more time. Number 1, what's the goal? What is it that I want? What's the idea? And this is just a want. The second thing is, why do I want it? What's the fuel that I'm going to add to enhance that image that I'm having? Once I know why, because I want, for example, freedom for my family, because I want financial peace, because I want to live a life that was better than the way I grew up as a child. I don't want to be poor anymore. So whatever your why is, that kind of takes that thought, makes it stronger, makes it an electromagnetic. So the thought, the idea is electrical charge. The emotion makes it magnetic. So you start to draw in these serendipities, these synchronicities. And then the red star becomes your North Star. The blue dot is where you are today. The red star is where you want to start acting today as if you were there. So you're looking at, this is my new level of awareness. This is what I want. This is why I want it. This is how it feels like. I'm closing my eyes. I'm synthesizing that experience. What would it feel like? How would I be? What's my relationship, for example, with the word no? Somebody asked me to do something that I don't want to do. The old version of Rich would say, sure, I'll concede reluctantly, and I'll be upset that I said yes. That version of Rich, future version of Rich, has a healthy relationship with the word no and will say no. In fact, that version of Rich knows that the only time he says yes to anything is if it's a hell yes. If it's an idea, an opportunity, something that is really good, something that I really, really want, I'm going to say hell yes. And if I don't feel, and if I don't think hell yes, then the answer is no. So that you're looking at that new version of you, that version that you want to be, and you want to start acting that way today. And so I wrote 1% better. And so 1% better does not mean read one more article and become 1% smarter. It does not mean that I have 1% more knowledge. Your problem is not with having information. You have enough information. Your problem, more likely than not, is the same problem that I have and most people have, is executing with the information that they already have. So when I'm talking about 1% better, what I mean is that you're going to take the information that you know, you're going to look at it, and literally every day, you're going to look 3 to 6 things that you can do, actions that are uncomfortable, that might be bold, but they're moving you toward your new North Star. You're asking, what would that future version of me be doing in this situation? And you're going to do the thing. I made it easy. 1% better every day. So all it is just take that step of faith forward. Now, in case you're wondering, well, what if I make a mistake? What if I experience a failure? The answer is, how cute. Of course you're going to make a mistake. Of course you're going to have a failure. But you're not a mistake and you're not a failure. You're going to learn from the mistakes. And remember, the cybernetic system is constantly adjusting. It's constantly giving you feedback and saying, okay, the mistake means that you're not going in the right direction or you're not doing the right thing. Change. The cybernetic system does not remember your mistakes. It memorizes and remembers the correct steps that you're taking or that you've taken. You are the one who remembers your mistakes. And that's part of the self-image that you have. So you have to realize that, no, when I make a mistake, I'm not a mistake. When I experience a failure, it's a temporary failure, it's temporary defeat. I'm still moving toward my target. I get this data, I make an adjustment, and I forget it. Forget the mistake and keep moving forward. Don't dwell on it. Don't meditate on it. Don't pray on it. Don't beat yourself on it up, or don't beat yourself up over it. Just let it go. Give yourself grace. You're going to fall. You're going to do something stupid. You're going to say something stupid, but that does not make you stupid. Again, it doesn't make you a failure. So keep looking at these videos, keep learning them, keep harassing them, keep applying them. And if you have to harass yourself in order to do the thing, then go right ahead. But the point is, again, be graceful with yourself. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to experience some wins, some losses, but you're constantly reiterating. You're learning, you're applying, and you're going to get better. And if you look back at your own life and you realize all my successes, all of them, 100% of them, always involved a lot of failures. When you learn to ride your bike, you fell a lot. When you're learning to walk, you fell a lot. You make a lot of mistakes, but you get better. You don't quit, you don't stop. And especially, you never, ever dilute your dreams. You don't water them down. Your dream, your desire is your dream. It's your desire. It's meant for you to have it. It's possible for you to have it, regardless of how big it is. You don't know how to do it. This is where your cybernetic system comes in or kicks in. It says, don't worry about how to do it. That's my job. Your job is to hold the image. Your job is to hold those emotions around the image. Your job is to maintain that level of awareness. My job, the cybernetic system, is to replace your negative self-image with a more powerful, empowering self-image, and I'll figure out how to get there. Now, when I give you, cybernetic system talking to you, when I give you feedback and intuition and answer, I need you to act on it when I give it to you. Don't ignore it, but we will work together, but it will figure out the way to get to your promised land, to your solution. So I hope this is helpful. I hope it makes sense. And again, my name is Rich Arriaga. This is my website. I hope you have a great day.